Greetings, friends, allies, family, and enemies. Give me a one if you can hear me, as we had a tech failure. I am your host, DC Radical One. Brother, you got ripped off. Okay, y'all can hear me. Cool. All right. Because I wasn't sure whether or not I would be able to live stream from this location, but it appears like we good to go, despite a very small issue. So, Mike has some reverb. I'm not sure what that's about, but this is an emergency, if you will, broadcast. So I'm only going to be on maybe an hour at the most. As you see, I haven't even loaded up haven't even changed the background. So, some of you may be wondering, DC, why are you coming on what episode on the center on a Friday night the instead of doing SBL talk? Well, I didn't plan to do anything. Let's play this. So this was not on the excuse the pun, not on the radar. But what was on the radar apparently was an attack by Israel against Iran. Now, for those of you all who have been tuning into the show for the last basically all of 2024, you know, we've been talking about this subject and how it could spiral out of control to World War III. So, unfortunately, we're a step closer than we were. It's been covered over in the mainstream news. The thing is that earlier today I was looking on my phone about there was, I can't remember who it was, but former U.S. general, and he was talking about the situation between Iran and Israel, and he had stated, he said, "Oh, they're going to attack before the election." And the person was like, "The election is the election's coming up. They don't have much time." Well, like I said, that was today, and here we are. So we're just gonna look at the article real quick so y'all can know I'm not making up stories. And the headline says that this is from AP: Israel launches strikes on targets in Iran, risking escalation in Mideast wars. So, like I said, for those who haven't, and it looked like, first of all, I haven't even greeted anybody. My bad. Before there, brother, you got ripped off. Before there, the sister Najee, who was in here while I was still running around looking for headphones and whatnot. Before there, brother Elijah. Greetings to Sister Simone. And I really want before the BB to brother Asafo. So yeah, hopefully more people will come in. They'll see get the notifications. If not, hopefully they see it tomorrow. Like I said, this wasn't expected. So the irony was I was watching that general, it might have been Colonel McGregor. I really can't remember who it was. There's like a set of like half a dozen people. Before they straight Black Pride, brother Desaline. It's like half a dozen people that I check out as far as former U.S. military. And then there's another half a dozen people that I check out who are from outside the U.S. For for international news, still trying to find a good set of African news sources that I can get news from the continent. Of course, as y'all know, they got rid of Africa Stream. That they were doing an excellent job of bringing us information. So I have to go back and look for some new sources. Speaking of looking for something new, I may have to. Brother, you got ripped off. Remind me in about 20 minutes to take a break because I'm working here without my power source, and that's not going to work. But yeah, so like I said, I was watching the colonel, and he was like, "Yeah, they're going to strike before the election." And then I turned that off, went to do some stuff, and turned on YouTube looking for something else, and I saw this Middle Eastern dude's channel that I've been checking out, and he's like, Israel has attacked Iran. And I was like, wait, what? So I looked at his channel, then I went and looked it up. Called Brother Jenny, talking to him. Brother Jenny, actually the only reason I'm on, because I wasn't going to come on till tomorrow. Because I wasn't sure, tech-wise, I wasn't sure how this would go. And so, yeah, here we are. So, just to give a little background, even though I know everybody here knows, but just in case somebody new happens to check this out, the reality of the situation is that Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis have been waging what they call a war of resistance against Israel intensely for over a year. Right? Now, while that's been going on, greetings to Brother Lee, while that's been going on, Israel has been carrying one of the most blatant, open, and vicious genocides in the 21st century. Like open, just blatant attacks on men, women, and children. Like they've been saying, because Israel actually has a saying, I forgot, they have a saying that say they're the most moral military in the world. Right? That's a saying they have. It's a good what's the word I'm looking for? That's good PR. You know what I'm saying? But part of the military's job is to remove people from the planet. There are a handful of ways to do that morally, but there's not a lot. Like you don't leave yourself a lot of room when your job to remove people from the planet to talk about morals. That's a narrow, thin scope there, right? So I personally attribute that to Orwellian doublespeak. You ever read George Orwell's 1984? Many times the people in charge said things that were the opposite of what they were, and they used language like that. So, since that has, special as this intensified after the October 7th military maneuvers that Hamas did in Israel. And so people mark it from that point. But as I began to research it and everything, like I didn't know, like I knew something had to take place because they displaced people back in 1947, 48, all that time. And, there were Jewish people that had been moving to that area before that. But I didn't know, like, there's like recorded massacres of Palestinians and Arabs during that time. And like a lot of stuff that doesn't get talked about history-wise, but Palestinian people haven't forgotten. So this thing has been going on, the minute that the land was declared to be Israel's. And it's very simply a case of the law of physics. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time, right? So if somebody lives somewhere and then someone comes and moves them out of the way, if they do it economically, it's called gentrification, right? If you do it militarily, it's called a war. There's no, you know what I'm saying? That's the word for it, right? Like if I have land and you come and try to take my land, or even if I don't have land, but I'm there before you get there. I mean, maybe it's not even my land, but I'm there before you get there. And then you come and you try to move me off the land with violence. That's called war. So in reality, when you look at it just realistically, this war has been taking place from the minute that Israel, really the minute that the land was declared to belong to the people who have been identified as the people in the Bible, or aka Jews, aka Hebrews, aka the chosen people, etc., so forth and so on, right? Because they have these different names and identities before they to RBG. So with that being said, that's really the origin of this current conflict. Now, you're going to say, well, DC, you just explained the origin of the conflict, except you just said, and you have up on the screen, that Israel is attacking Iran. What does Iran have to do with Palestine or Israel? Now, this is where the religious discussion comes in. From a religious perspective, from a Quranic religious perspective, there is a saying amongst Muslims that comes from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that states, a Muslim wants for his brother what he wants for himself, right? So you can take that a lot of different ways, but if your brother is under attack, your brother in Islam is under attack, then it is incumbent upon the other members of the Ummah or the community to come to the aid of their brother who's under attack. Whether that is militarily, charity, try to negotiate, whatever that may be, or in fact, all of the above, right? So, as most people in the world know, many of the people in Palestine are Muslim, but not all. There are Palestinian Christians there, right? Many of them are Arab, but not all, right? So Iran has decided that their brothers, the open genocide is just like, okay, this has gone too far. So previously, what they were doing is they were enlisting the help of, Hamas was already resisting, and Iran had been helping them. Hezbollah decided to attack, to draw attention from the destruction in Gaza. So, to give some relief to the Gazans, right? So, to the Palestinians in Gaza. The Houthis were also attacking from Yemen using hypersonic missiles, right? All of this in response to, like I said, the open and blatant genocide. Like, it is what it is. You can get videos now. Like, they have people, they have videos of people holding up their deceased children. One of the most gruesome things I saw, they had the children's remains, Palestinian child's remains in a bag. Like what's going on is horrific. Okay. Whatever side you're on in this, or no side at all, when you see what's being done to women and children, and then of course the I don't even know how to say this, the unnatural violations by Palestinian soldiers against men, yeah, you know, there is definitely one side that if you're on their side and you see what they're doing, we have to question your morals and ethics. That's all I'm saying. Right. So that is what was taking place. Now, from a geopolitical perspective, Israel has a goal. And in fact, you know what? Hold that thought. Y'all give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back because I gotta go find this power cord real quick. So I'm gonna be right back. Give me 30 seconds. Yo, I had my apologies. So as I was saying, Israel. I'm trying to get myself together here. Israel, basically, for their own reasons, y'all can hear me right. Give me a one again. I'm trying to get myself together. Israel, for their own reasons that most people won't understand, wants the U.S. to get into this war with Iran. Israel wants this war with Iran. Now, as I said, Iran hasn't really wanted the war, but they felt like it was their duty. Now, what people have to understand about Iran is a theocracy. It is run, the supreme leader of Iran is a religious leader, right? He's a religious man. He's 85-year-old religious man who is studied in Quran and Sunnah and all that, Islamic history, all that stuff, right? So it's like the most Muslim of Muslims, allegedly. you know, it's really up to him how far they go. So, from my gathering of and understanding of the political situation in Iran is something like this. And if there are any Muslims or learned people who hear this and want to correct me in the comments, do so. Right, brother RBG, a literal prime minister, if you will. Right. The Iranian military regime, if you will, for lack of a better word, at the moment, is ready for war. Like, it's just like, look, enough's enough. These people been running around here buck wild, blowing up stuff, disrespecting us, killing some of our people, so forth, so on. You know, it's like, who was it, Willie D? And we say, if it's going down, let's get it over with. You know, the old Ghetto Boy song, mind playing tricks on me. So that's the military. That's where they at with it. It's like, all right, let's get down. The people are like, you know, what's going on can't be allowed to happen. So even though a lot of people kind of have some trouble with the government and what they do, still on this, they're like, nah, We just can't have these people just going buck wild, killing other Muslims and acting a fool. Can't really have that. So, the religious leaders are. Oh well, first of all, the president, is that his title? Yeah, the president, the elected leader, the president, is very moderate, right? I can't think of his name right now. And he had wanted to do some outreach toward the West. So obviously he's like totally against the war. The Ayatollah is going to make his decision based off of his interpretation of Islam. Now, you know, the reason I say his interpretation of Islam, because in reality, there's an interpretation that says when a member of the Ummah is attacked, that the Ummah must come together to destroy that enemy, or at least render them harmless. Right? That interpretation is there for the taking. Whether he wants to take it or not is up for discussion. Now, when people talk about the escalation of this war, I have gone through previously, I've given y'all a comparison militarily of Israel versus Iran. I'm just going to say this. This is what most people will not say. There's absolutely no way in the world, outside of them using nuclear weapons, that Israel can defeat Iran militarily. That just can't happen. Right? So, and the reason we know Israel knows this is because whose weapons are they using? And who are they trying to get into the war? The United States. If they could handle it, they would handle it. They haven't asked the United States for any help in destroying the people of Gaza. Right? They asked them for stuff because they were having trouble defending themselves against the Houthis and Hezbollah. And then they took the stuff that they got from the U.S. with the you know, if y'all follow me on Instagram, I post how many billions, like I don't even know how many billions it is at this point. It's just billion after billion after billion. They get sent over there and they just build up military stuff and so forth, so on. Like they literally just, this how you know they were going to do something. They just sent, and I believe I talked about it a couple of shows ago, which I hadn't been on lately, but whatever. Where they got a THAAD missile system. The THAAD missile system also comes with 100 U.S. soldiers in Israel. Now, think about what I just said. Israel just ordered a THAAD missile, two, I believe, THAAD missile system, right? To defend their airspace. Where those systems come with U.S. soldiers, because the U.S. soldiers have to operate the system, which is why Ukraine doesn't. They got those systems. They're in Israel right now, and then Israel goes and bombs Iran. And then what happens? What is the logical thing that's going to happen? The logical thing is Iran will come back and bomb Israel. And if Iran comes back and bombs Israel, what is one of the main things that they're going to bomb? They're going to bomb your missile system, which is a new part of your Iron Dome. Well, if they blow up their missile system, which is a new part of that Iron Dome, who's going to get killed in the process? Y'all see how this works? They didn't order a missile system. They ordered U.S. soldiers to be cannon fodder so the U.S. will get into the war with Iran. That's what they ordered. And Biden sent it to them. So, and they're doing it before the election. So now both candidates will have to speak on it and have to state their support for Israel. and thus will have to publicly declare that they are at war with Iran. As Malcolm X would say, the United States is trapped, double trapped. Greetings, Brother Tony. Now, I was editing. this is how crazy this is. I was editing the Save America rally today, right? And I was putting up some of the information that Brother Jeannie had. I was trying to figure out a way to put that and make it look good and all that stuff. And then I was adding the part because he was talking about the bill that they were trying to pass to get women engaged in the military through a draft, right? And then I didn't even have a chance because, got distracted. No, actually, I got tired. I was tired, right? But I didn't get a chance to look up the fact that or whether or not that bill has been passed, because I don't remember them saying it was passed, but it's in Congress. It passed the House. That part I know, but I don't know if it passed the Senate, right? But that became much more pertinent discussion because why? Because war is at our doorstep. U.S. soldiers are on the ground in Israel. They're more than likely going to be killed. It is what it is. Because Israel's using them as human shields in essence. As much as they talk about human shields. And when that happens, then America is going to be at war with Iran. Now you're going to say, all right, DC. I mean, yeah, I don't want to have a war, but I mean, Iran's the bad guys, and we have to do what we have to do. Okay, you say that, but here's the problem: a war with Iran directly after the BRICS meeting with Iran, China, Russia, and other countries, including India. Now let's take a look at the scoreboard here of what we just said. Iran has nuclear technology, and I believe personally that they can assemble a bomb and put it on a hypersonic missile if they so desire. Like they can do that within a week. I believe that. I have no documentation to prove that. I've never been to Iran. I could be 100% wrong. But everything tells me that if you have everything up to nuclear power plants, and your closest allies are have nuclear weapons, the chances that you cannot assemble a nuclear weapon is very slim. You may not have one assembled, right? You may not have it have the nuclear warhead attached to your hypersonic missile. So you could say, because of sanctions and all that, oh no, we don't have any nuclear weapons. But that don't mean you can't, you can't, hey, screw that together, put that and that, and then screw that on top and fire this missile. Don't mean you can't do that. But let's not be naive and foolish here. The actual scientific advancement needed to do everything to make a nuclear weapon they have. And if they don't, they can call. You just had a BRICS meeting with, again, Russia and China and India. So you can get the know-how from either one of those countries. For all I know, they could have passed the schematics to them this week. Because the BRICS meeting, if I'm not mistaken, just ended. Whether you got ripped off, did it just end yesterday or is it still ongoing? Let me know. So the question is, you're like, all right, well, it don't really matter because their missiles can't reach here. From my understanding, that would be correct. Their ballistic missile capabilities cannot reach the United States. And they've never had a desire to. But you want to know where they can reach? Okay, today was the last day. All right, thank you, brother. Their ballistic missiles can certainly reach Israel. We know that part. Yeah, I'm just saying. And we know that Russia, in fact, do I have it up? Because, y'all know I was having tech issues. Oh, no. Let me put this up off of X real quick. This was, I think this was yesterday. Let's read this. It says an American Army pilot at Real Daniel Alwan. Alwan? Oh, okay. Shared a post caption above the Holy Land, then deleted it. It's possible that the late Aaron Bushnell, a former U.S. Air Force serviceman, had knowledge of U.S. involvement in bombing Gaza, which might have led to a self-immolation. Now, this is the picture the gentleman has. I guess it's a video. I don't know if that played. Now, this person was thinking about it in terms of Gaza, but in reality, that makes a whole lot more sense now because look what happened. Let's see. What do you say? Last month, Turkey submitted their application to join BRICS. We talked about it. Turkey seems to be determined to. I guess determined is not the word I'm looking for. It appears that they are willing to change sides, which is interesting because, as I talked about before, and again, I said I'm definitely getting off here by 11. I really had only planned to be on here for an hour. But as I talked about before, Turkey is in an interesting situation because Turkey is ostensibly a European country that is also Muslim and is also tied to Asia. So, it's like straddling a lot of fences. And, geopolitically, because they are, again, correct me if I'm wrong, they are a part of NATO still, right? They haven't left NATO. So I don't know how that works where you're a part of NATO and a part of BRICS. BRICS is, I know, at least at the foundation, an economic entity, an economic alliance. But we're at the point where there are different military alliances within that economic alliance. And let's be real. Let's think about it this way. If you're trying to make money with somebody and they come under attack and that's going to stop your money, are you, chances are, especially if they're under attack by somebody that you don't like. Join NATO in 1952. Thank you, bro. You're under attack by somebody that you don't necessarily like anyway. You know what I'm saying? And, things can switch up real quick, and you could go from standing back and observing what's going on to being like, yeah, the people y'all beefing with, we don't really like anyway, and we know they don't like us. So maybe people won't openly side with Iran, but maybe they'll just like, hey, maybe you need some more fighter pilots, right? Maybe you need some more. You're like, hey, you need some satellite imagery. That's something small like that they can tip the scales. Like, we have some intel on XYZ. So that's why people who really study geopolitics really understand this could get completely out of hand extremely quickly. because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, here we go. Russia says it has no intention of abandoning Iran as it faces Israel's wrath. This was 2 days ago. The Kremlin said it has no intention of abandoning Iran as it faces threat of direct attack by Israel. Iran's proxies, quote unquote, Hamas, Hezbollah, and well, I guess the Houthis haven't come under attack, but and yeah. So as we see here, this is President Vladimir Putin with Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian, chillaxing, right? And as I talked about, a long time ago now, Putin has been making moves and alliances with various people for a long time. Like, the last year and a half, I guess. In fact, those of you all don't know, there are North Korean troops in Russia now being prepared to be deployed to, and they're African troops, by the way, prepared to be deployed to do mop-up duty in Ukraine. But that's for another show. So you're going to ask me, like, all right, DC, all right. So you're saying that the U.S. is on the side of Israel against Iran, and Russia is on the side of Iran, which means that the U.S. and Russia are now fighting two proxy wars. And I'm going to say, you finally are beginning to understand what is happening. That's what's happening. The United States is about to be engaged in not one but two proxy wars, because we've already covered that the U.S. has boots on the ground in Ukraine, and some of those people were killed, right? I'm going to tell y'all how this stuff goes. And it's crazy because Hollywood did it. How many people remember the first Iron Man movie? Right? Like, just put a 1 in chat. You remember the first Iron Man movie? I'll give y'all a few seconds. It sounds crazy what I'm about to say, but I saw other people in other countries, European countries, say that this happened. So I know it's real. Remember when Tony Stark was testing, I guess, the Mach 2 Iron Man suit? And he went over to whatever the fictional country was, and he took out their leadership or whatever. And then he was coming back, if I'm not mistaken, if I don't have it correctly, but this is how I remember. He was coming back, and the U.S. military saw him, and they were like, "Yo, what is that?" And so anyway, they attacked him because they, thought he was some type of enemy combatant or drone or that, whatever. And so while he was trying to evade them, one of the planes got destroyed, but he saved the pilot and then flew off, right? Well, and what happened in that? He was like, Tony told his man, Rhodey, "Oh man, it was a training accident during a training exercise, right?" And then he was like, "What? How am I pull that off?" And then next thing you know, he had a press conference. He was like, "Yeah, in Southern California or wherever, we had a training exercise where the pilot had to eject, but he disembarked the vehicle safely, but we lost one of the vehicles due to a malfunction, but we did not lose any personnel." Like, saying something like that, right? Well, I was looking, and in Britain, and there was one other European country, they were talking about, they had soldiers recently that had passed in quote unquote training exercises. And then they were like, yeah, we realize now that they were on the ground in Ukraine and were unfortunately the victim of that big missile attack that Russia had that hit one of the training facilities for Ukrainian officers. So literally, they were actually unalived during the training exercise. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of wasn't alive. You know what I'm saying? Just not what you think. So just like the movie, they literally use those words to cover up the fact that basically you're at war with people or at war with other countries and your government has not authorized it. Right? Like, I'm not sure how Britain and I can't remember what the other country was, maybe France, Germany, one of them. I'm not sure how they're supposed to work. Congress is supposed to be the one that authorizes war in America. That hasn't like really been the case too much since 9/11, really. It's just kind of like the president kind of says, I'm going to war. Will y'all authorize it? And they say, yeah, if you say so. And then off we go, right? But I'm be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's ever been a time where the Congress didn't allow the president to go to war. Like, there's been times where there's been some scandals like Iran-Contra, where, you know, you making deals and sending weapons and money and all types of stuff to people. But as far as like the Congress actually looking at it and like, nah, I don't think we should be fighting that. If anybody knows, let me know. I don't think that's ever taken place. Now, with this situation, here's the bad part. Because I'm trying to think of a way for what we think is going to happen to not happen, which is for the United States to get in a full-blown war with Iran and Russia. And who knows what China's going to do. They seem to be trying to kind of stay out of it, but also use the opportunity to take Taiwan back. So that's a whole nother part of this deal. Like, America's military could be stretched thin because of their quote unquote closest ally and be set up for destruction. Now you're going to say, now DC, why would Israel want to destroy America? Their closest ally. And I'm going to say that is a discussion that can't be had on YouTube. That's what I'm going to say. In fact, if you be in Baltimore on November 2nd, I'm sure Brother Genie will get into that. Remind me to put that up on the community page because I haven't posted that recently. But yeah, Brother Genie he'll be in Baltimore November 2nd, and he'll be in New York on December 7th, I believe. So if you're part of the email list, you'll get you should have that information. But I will start posting it again on Instagram and YouTube. But this is the reason why I felt it. Well, I was convinced that this had to be discussed, because I'm not sure any other Black people will talk about this, and I'm not sure they'll be able to put it into a context where we understand how this affects us. Let's just be realistic. If you're part of the military, in fact, I know somebody that's part of the military that I haven't heard from in a minute, and actually I need to try to contact them and see what's going on with them before they straight black, prior to straight black side. I need to see what's going on with them, make sure they not over there, because it didn't occur to me that, hey, I haven't heard from them. I may not have heard from them because they over there. But this situation, man, I will, the next couple of days, I'll be watching to see what um what Iran does. Now, I have heard something about a counter strike, but I haven't been able to verify that. So that's why I haven't spoken on it, because I'm not sure. In fact, when I get off of here, that I'm going to be looking up any more information. You say anyone stationed in Jordan is already in Israel. Let me tell you something. Anybody that's stationed on the ground in any of those U.S. bases, they're going to, if they're not under attack, they're going to be under attack. It's no question. Earlier, it just so happened that, but last night, I was looking at a documentary on how, basically, the origin of the Iranian missile, how they built their arsenal, how they advanced their technology and stuff like that. So I had just been looking at a documentary on their capabilities as far as that and how they got that way. And here's the irony of it. Iran's missile capacity, their capability, which some other countries, I think like North Korea and a couple of other countries, had went and met with them and saw and was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I ain't know you know, it's like if it's like you went to your homeboy's house and he told you, you know, he had a weapon, and then you go there and he got an arsenal, and you like, bro, man, you got a collection. Like, what the? How you build this up? Like, it's like that. Like their missile capability is, you know, other countries, because Iran has been under some form of U.S. sanctions for 40 years. So when people saw the level of their technology and stuff, they're like, how in the world? And I think one of the quotes was, they said, man, what could y'all have done if you weren't under sanctions? And I can't remember who it was, but it may have been a person in charge of their missile program, was like, we wouldn't have been able to do it if we weren't under sanctions. And I just found that ironic. So to tell the story real quick, what happened was that, as y'all know, the U.S. toppled the Iranian government and put in the Shah. Eventually, the people toppled the Shah and put in eventually the Ayatollah. While all that was going on, and the hostage crisis and all that stuff, in the wake of all that, and the U.S. basically put a battery in the back of Saddam to attack Iran with Scud missiles and poison gas and chemical weapons and all types of stuff. Iran didn't have the missile capacity to fight back. Eventually, they start asking around, and nobody would work with them until they went to, of course, Gaddafi. Gaddafi's like, cool, I'll send you some missiles. You just gotta do something for me. So they brokered the deal. They did what they did. But then Gaddafi was like, all right, I can't send you no more. And they was like, well, give us a couple of more, and then, you know, we'd be good. So that's that. They brokered that deal. That's how that. So what they did is they just took one of them apart and he said, we're going to reverse engineer. We're just going to take it apart. We're going to reverse engineer. That was the basis of their missile program. And they just went and kept improving the technology from there, improving the range and improving the accuracy, because Scuds are notoriously inaccurate, right? So they just, and that was the basis of their missile program. But if the United States had never put a battery in the back of Saddam, Iran wouldn't have the missile capability that it has today. Like literally, again, if the United States government just simply just was minding their own business, these people wouldn't they would be nowhere near the threat, quote unquote, that they are now. They would not have the missile capability to attack Israel. Now, they've given that missile capability to the Houthis, who are just as far away in another direction and a much smaller force. Right? This is the part of the story that the American media doesn't tell us. Like, people forget about the Iraq-Iran war, and it lasted for nearly a decade. It lasted basically all of the 80s. And this is why, again, remember, the Reagan administration was politically playing footsie with Iran, because they had basically made a deal for Iran to hold the hostages until the election so they could guarantee themselves a win. And Reagan got a landslide victory. And then you had the whole weapons and Iran-Contra and all that stuff. Right? So the idea of Iran being the bad guy doesn't take into account all the shenanigans that the United States government has been doing with Iran. And that's what some of that is without the backing of Israel, some of it with the backing of Israel. Right? But one thing we saw is that if you get in bed with the United States, they're going to eventually turn on you like they did Saddam. Right? Because we know how that story ended, right? They propped them up, they backed them, they gave them weapons, and then what they do? When they had no more use for them, they eliminated them. So for those Muslims out there who are trying to figure out whose side they're on, you might want to go back into your recent history so you can figure out who you're with. Not a Muslim, but I'm saying I have studied Islam and I've studied history. There's a way that this thing works, and it doesn't generally work to the benefit of those who side with the U.S. and Israel, because at this point they're one and the same politically, geopolitically. Maybe not economically, but geopolitically, they're one and the same. So if y'all got any questions, y'all let me know, and I'll probably be on for maybe 15 more minutes. But it seems kind of quiet. I don't know if the seriousness of the topic has people quiet, or I don't know. Now I saw this. This is Mr. Putin. This is with I think this is with is that the Ayatollah? Hold up, let me see. Because he doesn't normally get out and stretch his legs like that. I'm trying to see what it says. I'm trying to see what year this is from, but it doesn't say. But yeah. And it says here the uncomfortable reality of Russia and Iran's new defense relationship. Let me see what it says. On April 2nd, 2024, Ukraine's military struck several buildings in the Alubuga special economic zone in Russia's Tatarstan region. The strike demonstrated Ukraine's steadily improving ability to hold targets deep inside Russia at risk. But it also was a stark reminder of just how far Iranian-Russian defense operation has come since 2022. As of last year, Russia has indigenized the production of Iran-designed Shahed drones at Alabuga, practicing a degree of cooperation with Tehran that would have been unthinkable only a few years ago. The Shaheds and other Iranian-origin drones deployed by Russia have created a severe headache for Ukraine, leading its military planners to resort to the April strike. Let's stop right there. Um, think about what this is saying. This is saying that Russia went to Iran to get drone technology for its war with Ukraine. And you think they're going to allow the United States to come in and destroy Tehran? that's just not going to happen. I would say this, but there's no need to say it because I know they're not going to listen. Mr. Trump, you're never going to hear this, but perhaps you will. I'm going to say this. Do not let the swamp monsters who are surrounding you drag you into a war that puts the future of the United States at jeopardy. You said you want to drain the swamp. And I'm here to tell you that the swamp is the synagogue of Satan. You can look up the quote in Revelations. You know what I'm talking about. That's the swamp. And the swamp wants to drag you down and have you be the person that ensures the destruction of the United States of America. Because you're the person saying, make America great again. That's the only reason I'm even saying that to Mr. Trump. I believe Miss Harris has already cast her lot with Israel regardless because of who she's married to and because of her lineage. I have nothing to say. Miss Owens has revealed what we need to know about her genealogy. She's going to side with her people. And that, we shouldn't be surprised by that. And if we're being completely honest, black people are kind of the only people that have trouble siding with their own people. Like, for everybody else, that's like par for the course. It's natural. It's what people do. In this case, what I would wish is that whoever wins the election would side with the American people over any alleged ally and do what's right for America. They put America first. And y'all know me, I'm not no great quote-unquote American patriot. I'm African nationalist. But because I'm here, and because what this could lead to can affect everybody on the planet, I'm going to advocate for some type of moderation, some type of communication, some type of step away from the red button. You know what I'm saying? Because this thing just continues to escalate, and I don't see anyone saying, this is not smart. There's not a good way for this to end. I did the show. I talked about the movie War Games. I showed y'all the war games that they have produced in regards to how this plays out. If anybody remembers, it doesn't look good. Pretty much the whole northern hemisphere just gets eviscerated. And unfortunately, radiation, it doesn't just stay where it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no good outcome for the escalation of this thing. Let's see, brother. You got ripped off. Say Penn State nuke simulation. Give me some more information on that, because I missed that. They had a a recent nuclear. Oh, you mean the one that I put up in the show? Is that the one you're talking about? Let me know. Yesterday's Oh, of Candace. Oh, yeah, yeah. I figured that. I didn't even look at it, but I figured that. Yeah. So I didn't. Let me say this. I didn't come here to. I didn't come on here to fear monger. I came on here to make people aware of what's taking place because it's important and relevant. And it's relevant. And here's the thing. Here's the good and bad part. Here's the thing. The Sahel is partnered with Russia. The good part is there are benefits to that partnership. The bad part is we don't know if that, well, we do know that that makes that part of Africa a target, because the reason we know is because the Ukraine sent intelligence to terrorists that the Sahel was fighting against, for them to in essence get the drop on soldiers, African soldiers and Russian soldiers. So yeah, I just thought about that part. And let's be honest, many other African countries, like most notably South Africa, but some others, have been vehemently and staunchly and loudly against the ongoing situation in Gaza. So, we think that Africa can just sit it out. Yeah, that's not likely. That's just not likely. And we have to be honest about it. We have no, how can I put it? No, this is what we know. Based upon Israel's behavior in this situation for the last year, we know they have the capacity to lash out and strike at anyone, anywhere, at any time. And they won't, and there are no options that aren't on the table. Like, just be honest. For them to achieve their goals, there are no options that are on the table. There's no options taken off the table. The fact that they're doing this shows that. I'm going to, after I get off of here, I'm going to look and see what's the information on where they struck. Because they were discussing striking the nuclear facilities in Iran, which are, from my understanding, part of them are underground and part of them are built into a mountain, which means you have to have like serious bunker busting bombardment and armament to do damage to that. I'm just, the idea that Iran's going to just take that line down, I don't believe that. If they strike on those facilities, Iran has already stated. Here's the thing: Iran has already stated if they attack their oil reserves or their nuclear, they're going to attack all the oil in the Middle East and shut down the Strait of Hormuz. So you're like, okay, y'all want to attack our oil? Well, okay, there ain't nobody got no oil. How about that? With winter coming up, at least in the northern hemisphere. So I want to see whether or not they just limit it to, which Israel actually never does this. So if they do just limit it to military targets, that'd actually be a change. Or if they go after the nuclear, and if they go after their energy. If they go after their nuclear and they go after their energy, Iran has already said what they're going to do. So, like I said, I would like to see a way. I would like to say that I see a way that this doesn't escalate. Literally, the only way it doesn't escalate is that Iran backs down. And then if Iran backs down, that's just going to embolden Israel to do something else, because they want the U.S. to get into this war. And eventually, because I believe Russia is kind of like trying to tell them to hold fast for a minute, but eventually they're gonna be like, nah, we got to come totally at them. And then when they do, then it's on. That's how I see it. You know, I like to have some good news. You know, we've been basically chronicling and predicting and saying what's going to happen and how this going to play out and doing the scenarios and the war games and all that. We've been doing all that for a year. And so it's not that this step was unexpected by no stretch of the imagination. And I forgot, if it happened today, which depending on where you're at, is tomorrow. But if it happened today, Friday, they attacked on the Islamic, in what is in essence the Islamic holy day. Friday is when Jummah prayers. Jummah, the community prayers where the whole community comes together. They pray as a community, and the local religious leader, he gives the khutbah, he gives a sermon, talks about, you know, the religious duty. So the bomb people on their holy day, that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what if Iran had done anything on, you know, on Israel's holy day. I don't know. I haven't paid that close attention, so I don't know if that's a tit for tat or it just a disrespectful thing to evoke a response. I'm not sure, but it did occur to me, you know, an hour ago, a couple of hours ago. I mean, that wait a minute, this is Jummah. They attacked on Jummah, and yes, they did. So, I'll ask y'all now. Well, anyway, let me say this. This is The Center. I'm your host, DC Radical One. You can follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1, on Twitter at DC_Radical_ONE, on OTW2, which is a Black-owned free speech platform, at DC Radical One. And you can donate via Cashapp, $ DC Radical One. And of course, you can email me at dc.radical_1@protonmail.com. And if Brother Jarake listens to this later on, because I do not see him in the chat, Brother Jarake, I've sent you the first of 3 videos that I'm going to send you. So that's the first one. I sent you the link to your email. Just let me know that you got it when you get it. I'm currently working on the second one. You know, I'll be working on that all this weekend, depending on what's going on with this stuff. And then the third one will probably get a week later, hopefully. Hopefully that's a time schedule I'm working with right now. So I appreciate that. Again, if anybody wants to donate, the easiest way to donate via Cash App. Trust me, every dollar is appreciated. Now, I'm gonna ask y'all now, if y'all want me to come on Sunday night for a show of The Center, you can put a 1 in the chat. If I don't see like 50% ones, then I won't. If I do see 50% or more ones, then I will. Also, I was thinking about coming on tomorrow to do SBL talk. That's up to y'all as well. So I give y'all time to let me know what y'all want to do, because if y'all show that y'all found value in this information, and the show is still if you find value in the show, then I'll continue to do it. If not, I won't. I'll be completely honest. The cost of this show, as far as streaming and the storage and stuff like that, I didn't realize how much storage I have like used up in the new part of my computer. I didn't realize it a day. I'm like, goodness. Yeah, that's the thing. So I've talked about all that before, but the support that I have gotten, especially from the sisters this time around. It's greatly appreciated. It was much needed, believe me. So it looks like we are right at 50-50. So it looks like we might come back on Sunday and give a update on this situation. Also, because I had forgotten, you can join the channel. We have memberships for the channel. I believe the lowest is $4 a month. The highest is $24.99. The $24.99 gets you, of course, lecture in a month and all the other stuff that the lowest level gets you. I think if you just go to the channel, it has all the details there. Still working that out, how that will work. Of course, some of that money goes to Google, YouTube. I forgot, but it's actually more of a cut than I get for the ads. And so, yeah, that is that. We are unfortunately one step closer to the irreversible situation and a conflict where no one wins. I have no idea where you can watch it, but I would suggest everyone watch War Games. 1982, so it's a 40-year-old movie. Unfortunately, it's still relevant, but it's a good movie. It's entertaining. I don't know how it looks now. It probably looks kind of hokey. Thank you, brother. Brother Sa is our inaugural member of the channel. I appreciate you. So I'm getting ready to, and y'all hold up. Y'all get some clap emojis. Clap emojis for Brother Saw for being the first member of the channel, for breaking the ice. Before we go, I'm getting ready to go and get more details on this situation. And thank you, brother. You got ripped off with the clap emojis. I guess I gotta design some more celebratory emojis. But yeah, man, this is hate to sound like Debbie Downer. I know if it sounds like I got low energy, but it's a heavy topic, and I was expecting it, but like I said, I'm really waiting to see what Iran's response is. So soon as I turn this mic off, I'm just gonna be digging into their response and hearing from different people in the Middle East about what they think the next play will be. So hopefully I can gather some information for that and have that for you all Sunday. And if anything happens as far as like the election, we'll cover that, and anything else that happens news wise, we'll just cover that Sunday. So y'all have convinced me to give up part of my football watching. I already, this attack already disturbed my World Series watching, because I certainly was getting ready to sit down and just watch the World Series, and yeah, that didn't happen. So again, I'm DC Radical 1. You can follow me on Instagram at DC.Radical1, on Twitter at DC__ONE, OTW2 at DC Radical 1. You can donate via Cashapp, $ DC Radical 1. And you can email me at DC.Radical_1 at protonmail.com. And as we see, you can join the channel. And I forgot, if you don't catch the live stream, you don't catch it live, but you watch it later, you can donate via Super Thanks. Super Thanks is the equivalent of Super Chat, except that you can do it after the live stream. or you can do it after you watch a video. Like if you watch one of the short videos and you like it and you appreciate it and you want to donate, you can do that as well. And if I see a super thanks in between live streams, the next live stream I will give a shout out for that. So with that, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, I'm going to close out. I am your host, DC Radical One. It appears that I will see you all Sunday night for another episode of The Center as we follow up on these events and any other events that take place. And I leave you all and I say a BB for ODA and straight black. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.